Hello and welcome to another episode of Business Beat with me, Odette. The media industry is full of opportunities. A lot of people don't understand that there are viable opportunities for careers, for entrepreneurs as business people in the media industry. Talking to me today is a seasoned media specialist, somebody who's worked on the client or brand side of the business, as well as on the agency side of the business, and somebody who's pretty savvy with her own content creation. Sadika, hello and welcome to Business Beat.
Hello, Odette. Thank you so much for having me.
What do you think are the trends for reaching consumers in a relevant way for 2022?
We've seen shifts in consumption of media as a whole.
Yeah.
So if you're at home, you're consuming a lot more on-screen media. So we saw increases in television, live television consumption,
Yes.
in fact.
And before COVID, everybody was saying TV is dead, right? Digital
the
is the
infamous
way.
thing. That's it. So we saw an increase, double-digit figures, Odette, across actually live TV, free to air.
Wow.
We saw increases in pay TV, but we've also seen increases in video as a whole. I think the biggest trend I've taken out is video consumption, but video consumption across multiple channels. What was very interesting for me is that what fits on a Facebook, what fits on a TikTok may not necessarily work on a TV.
Yes,
So
there's
we
no
saw-
one size fits all anymore, right?
And that's one of the biggest trends we've seen. We saw the imminent entrance of TikTok into the country
Yes.
at double-digit figures, sitting close to a couple of million South Africans, and not teens, mind you. It's
Everybody.
ourselves on TikTok
Yes,
and
everybody.
enjoying TikTok. So we saw an increase of video as a whole, multiple social platforms. What we also saw an immense rise in is e-commerce.
Yes, shopping online.
Of course, but we love it, don't
Of
we?
course. And yet everybody said that in South Africa we were lagging so far behind, the world in terms of online shopping.
Yes.
Hard lockdown hits and everybody suddenly turns to online shopping for bread and milk.
Yes.
Not just luxury goods.
Daily
or-
necessities.
Yeah.
And I think there was a perception, quite right, 2 years ago, I don't trust my credit card details. I firstly think that the banking industry or the FinServe industry has done a fantastic job at crafting it, because we've all downloaded banking apps and we're now transacting via our apps. So that was 2 years in the making, almost fortuitous.
Yes.
And now you have, I can't actually go to the store. I am actually feeling a little bit insecure getting into the store. So I'm actually going to give it a try. And what we saw, small purchases, the breads and the milks, and then it started going, okay, actually maybe I can get my weekly groceries here. I may even want to get my
Yes.
fresh produce there. So e-commerce for us as media specialists has been something we've had to double click into, understanding the consumer journey, understanding where they're playing, how they're engaging in digital. Do you want to actually take them out of a social media platform, for example, or do you want to engage e-commerce click to buy now within the social media platform?
Of
So
course.
consumers don't like being interrupted. And as brands, we need to be very careful not to interrupt them, but rather engage them, entertain them, and educate them.
So let's talk about agencies. It's a real nice space to work in. It's creatively stimulating, and often you have access to resources in an ad agency or a media agency that as a corporate you might not have access to in-house. But these resources come at often the cost of agility, and they cost a lot of money to maintain. So where do you think the agency model needs to adapt in order to meet the agile space that we find ourselves in economically, just as a country?
Firstly, there's absolutely value in agencies. What they bring to the fore is a specialization. We come from brands. Ultimately, we need to be as cost effective and efficient as possible. We have to go out to tender processes and pitch processes. And no, it's not always that the best price wins. It ultimately means we must get what we are paying for from a value perspective. Cheap doesn't always cut it.
Yeah.
In some instances, you may have to pay a premium, but what are we paying the premium for? Intel, intelligence, specialization, contribution to our overall marketing campaign objectives, in turn, contribution to the bottom line. So we need to
Music to my ears.
So we need to be hard-hitting on one side, we need to break through the conventions in marketing communications, appeal to the hearts and the minds of consumers, but we need to be accountable, as we are as marketers accountable on the bottom line for business. Our agency teams
Yes.
must be co-accountable with us.
I think effectiveness has become the new sexy, right? But let's just talk about all the students who are entering into the now would-be workplace, what ought the new generation of us be looking for?
I think it's so critical. You've raised such an important point on it's not just about the creativity, it's about the effectiveness of communication to answer to business objectives. What we do with our agency partners and what I've done in the past in numerous of my positions is co-accountable KPIs. So we know that a media agency, for example, will come with their normal share of voice, reach, effective reach frequency. We know that CPM and click-through rate. We know creatives will come through, did the ad test well, what did the link results say, and so forth. Fair enough, keep your technical creative metrics and your media metrics and so forth and performance metrics. That is critical, that for us is a hygiene factor. But you're going to share the volumes goal. You're going to share the sales target. You're going to share these clicks. You're going to share the cart with us.
I find sometimes that if I see something really clever and really efficient, that is enough motivation for me to click, purchase and take the journey a bit further for research and for shoes. But, you know,
of course,
it is what it is.
A little pair there.
It is what it is. So we have clients, we have agencies, we have an influx of students coming through, we have a recessed economy. If you are going to be interviewing somebody who is looking to start their career in media, what would be the A factor for you? Is it somebody whose CV is impressive? Or is it somebody who drops all the hygiene jargon? What would you be looking for?
I am looking for a good combination. I'm looking for someone with an aptitude to want to learn. It's that hunger to learn, that hunger to, I'll humble myself and walk through the trenches with the brand or the agency that I'm working with. I advocate for trench work. I personally still love being in the trenches because that is where you learn, that is where you get humbled, that is where you learn the respect for our industry, and that is where you look up to your mentors in the industry. So I look for that level of resilience and humility and someone with a passion to grow. Being a technical specialist, someone has to come with some level of technical aptitude. So we look for analytical experience. I advocate agency experience to start out your career with if you want to come into our technical specialization. Why? You understand the back end of the campaign management process. You have the glitzy briefing process, you've invited all of your agencies and you've handed the brief. But then what happens after that brief? How do you analyze a brief from an agency point of view? Then briefing of media partners and ensuring that the right media partners are brought in for those innovative media opportunities and to achieve those specific digital and media goals. So you're looking for someone as well within the industry that can collaborate, that can think multiple parallel streams at the same time.
You've hit the nail on the head. You know, attitude is not something that can be acquired through textbook learning. And I think that we are in an unknown space, in not quite hard lockdown with COVID.
Correct.
Not quite the early stages of the global pandemic, but a new course that needs to be navigated through. And this is important because those graduates, those people who are sitting in the agencies, those executives need to understand the math.
Correct. Analytics and data analysis is critical at this point in time. I think the critical thing is what insights can you derive from the data and then how can you implement it into marketing communications to achieve a specific business objective?
I think we can wrap with a message for teachers, school teachers.
Yes.
These are the people who are influencing young minds who will eventually become high school students, university students, and the people that you and I will be recruiting. So to the teachers, you need to be giving children exercises where they go out and see ordinary things and to find special things out of those ordinary things and then to present back to you what those special things are. When you come into our world, those will be called insights. And when those insights are applied properly, that becomes business. And when business is thriving, that's when you're making money. Until next time.